everyone to our online practice, Movement Yoga here, Movement Yoga Flow. This is Kathy Cormier. She's my student, my practitioner, my wife, my best friend. All that sappy, great stuff.
Aww.
But anyway, we're going to have some fun. And we have a studio audience who will not be on camera, but she'll be practicing with us off to the side. Super excited to have my sister here. And she will not be on camera, though. Absolutely not. All right, so let's get going. Kathy, how are you feeling this morning?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. Anything you want to work on specifically?
I find myself slouching because so much of my job in life is keyboarding, and I found out I have to do a special test today.
Special test?
Well, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Something on the keyboard.
All right. So let's try to get those the nadis, the nerve currents, the rivers through our body, nice, open, and clear, so you can perform as best as you can on that test with all this action here. All right. So let's find our feet. Hands find the hips. Let's just rock it from side to side, just finding our feet. And then staying grounded through the feet, just back and forth, starting to find your center, vis-a-vis side to side. And then finding that center. Now let's rock it heel toes. We lift the heels and lift the toes. Starting to connect with our center as we find our balance. And then staying grounded through the toes, grounded through the heels, and then finding your center vis-a-vis front to back. So in the morning, I like to work a wide stance. As I move through my practice, I'll start to narrow that stance just to challenge my balance and to start to connect with my center. So finding a place to work that works for you. Hands by our side, relax shoulders tall through the crown of the head. I'll allow you to tuck your chin ever so slightly without shortening the neck. As we bring our hands to our heart, a light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger. Starting our practice this morning, watching as our breath flows in. And watching as our breath flows out, arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for a morning yoga practice. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow breath in, followed by an equally long, slow breath out. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of your chest, the base of your belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to engage your abdominals as you draw the low belly in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, squeezing a little more air out, more importantly with that abdominal engagement, providing structural support for your low back as we move through these shapes and sequences. Keeping this deeper, fuller breath, finding a go-to breath in many flow practices. The Ujjayi breath, the victorious breath, slightly constricting the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice, the sound of which often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Last two details before we start to connect breath to movement. One of the definitions of vinyasa. Tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth. Keeping that tongue loop throughout the practice. Keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face. A Mona Lisa smile, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by our side. Keeping it simple, arms and shoulders as we inhale the arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, arms back down. Two more times like this, observing the natural rhythm of the shoulders. As the arms elevate, the shoulders elevate. As the arms descend, the shoulders descend. One more time, breathing in. And breathing out. Half sun salutation, adding a forward fold and a back bend, inhaling arms up. On the exhale, leading with the heart. As you fold, take a breath to arc the back, hands can cap the knees. On the exhale, catching the back of the shins as we traction ourselves deeper, rounding the spine. Inhaling, moving towards a flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms over. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. We got 1 more to go here. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to arc. On the exhale, arching. Inhaling, riding the breath up, hands overhead pose. Exhaling, standing tall. So you're already sideways, Kath. So at home, stay just as you are. Nan, you might face the top of your mat. Yeah, you might go to the top of your mat. Nan's off camera, but I'm gonna give her good direction here. Sun salutation A. And you can come a little bit forward, Kathy. That brick is way in frame, so you might even be a little bit in front of that brick, just so you know. And you just do whatever you want to do. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, folding again. I will knock you vinyasa as you find your down dog. Grounding one hand down and then the other. And just holding your down dog or holding all fours. Finding a place to work that works for you. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to walk your dog. If you're holding a child's pose, you'll be gently rocking your body from side to side. Just starting to connect. How do you feel? What feels tight? What feels right? What feels somewhere in between? From this place of movement, I'll invite you to move back towards relative stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. Despite the lack of overt movement, you're still breathing. Your heart's still beating, your mind's still moving. And by focusing on your breath, finding a little more space between each breath, each beat of the heart, each thought. And then on the tail end of a breath, I'll invite you to bend your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, more space in your low back, and then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, arcing the spine. Exhaling, arching the back as we fold. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one, much like the first, this time a will cue vinyasa. Having said that, feel free to leave it out. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. And then on the exhale, grounding on down, elbows soft as you find your push-up. Inhaling into your back bend, feel free to use the knees on the push-up. And then on the exhale, pushing back to down dog. Again, another option might be all fours. Maybe you find a child's pose. Always balancing your effort with your ease. Wherever you choose to work, breathing, watching that breath, and enjoying your reflection upon that breath. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one more A. We'll throw a moving plank into the mix if that's appropriate for your practice. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you ground down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back. And there's lots of ways to move through space. I love that particular vinyasa. Sister Nan. She just found a plank, held it for a couple breaths, and then draw it on back. She skipped the push-up. Totally cool. Feeling free to hold whatever shape you're in, adding the moving plank to your practice. As we inhale forward to plank pose. On the exhale, navel to spine, as we lift the hips high. Couple more times. Inhaling forward to your plank. On the exhale, navel to spine, as we lift the hips high. One more time here. Inhaling forward to plank. Exhale and hold the plank. Inhale and hold the plank. Exhale and hold the plank. One more half breath, breath in. And then breath out, navel to spine. As we lift the hips high, coming back to down dog. And holding for another couple of breaths. open the window just slightly here. Get a little fresh air in here. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then mindfully making your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Sun salutation B. Inhaling into a chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower, more strength in your legs. Inhaling, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you ground down, and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa, or just stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. Take your time, find your flow. From down dog, flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes as you stretch out Achilles tendon and calf. And then looking between the hands, pitching that leg even higher. Sweeping the right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead for your warrior one. And then on the exhale, arms out to the side, finding low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. And again, take your time. Flowing through space with grace. I probably said last week I used to have a student named Grace, so I'd always include that line in the class. I think she appreciated it. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. Second side when you're ready. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Wait for it. Looking between the hands, pitching that leg even higher, and then sweeping that left foot through, spinning the back heel down. Arms out to the side and then overhead, finding your warrior one. Back leg long, back leg strong. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. And again, take your time. Find a place to be that works for you. Your energy level, your breath, always taking care of yourself. The first rule of yoga. Wherever you choose to work, finding your samavriti, your same breath, long, smooth breaths in, equally long, smooth breaths out. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, long, smooth breath in, equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. On the inhale, stay low, finding our chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, glutes engaged, supporting a back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by our side. We're going to throw a dragon dog into the mix. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you ground down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back, depending on how hard or how gentle you want to work today. Gentle and hard are both good things, depending on your frame of mind, your spirit, your energy level. All right, feel free to stay wherever you are, playing with the dragon dog. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Whoops. Uh-oh. Off camera, just knock some lights over. It's all good, I'll fix it. Guys, you stay in the poses. Yeah, we want to keep the flow going. Don't worry about it. It's all good. All good, all good. So we got the right leg high. Ernie Kovacs, just think of Ernie Kovacs. All right, so we're up on the left toes.
That's right.
Now we're going to bring knee to nose to knee, exhaling, and then inhale it back up. Yeah, no twist. Exhale it forward, keep it center. Inhale it up. Now we're going to hold an extra half breath. Exhale it forward. Inhale and hold. And then on the exhale, try to get that foot right between the hands as we find our warrior one, spinning that back heel down. Arms out to the side and then overhead. And then riding your next exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge back to down dog as you will. Take your time, find your flow. Take your time. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. High on the right toes. On an exhale, knee to nose, nose to knee. And inhale it up. 2 more times. Exhale it forward. Inhale it up. We'll hold this next one an extra half breath. Exhale it forward. Inhale and hold. And then on an exhale, squeezing belly tight as we step that foot as far front as we can, spinning the back heel down, fighting your warrior one, inhaling. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Deep full breaths. Take your time. We'll turn the heat down since we got the window open. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Equally long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take that jump front. Take a breath to find length in your ride. On the exhale, folding again. On the inhale, stay low, fighting your chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. We'll do one more sun sal B. We'll throw a hip opener into the mix. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you ground on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa, stretching straight back, or making another choice instead. And then from down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder anchored, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. And wait for it. Looking between the hands, pitching that knee even higher. And then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side. And then overhead, warrior one. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Take your time, find your flow, follow your breath. Listening to your body. And most importantly, respecting what your body has to say. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder anchored, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that leg, opening up that hip, and wait for it, looking between the hands, pitching that knee even higher, and then sweeping that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead, inhaling. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. You can take your time. Flowing through space with grace. And maybe one of these days I'll see Grace in class again. Super fun person. And again, wherever you're choosing to work, just finding your Samarviti, long, smooth breaths in. Equally long, smooth breaths out. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift your tailbone just a tad higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or frog jump in front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. On the inhale, back to our chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, finding that back bend at the top, the city lights posture. And on the exhale, hands by our side. I'll invite you to face camera, Kathy, as you bring hands to heart. Again, a light press of your thumb against your sternum as we line up each finger. Relax shoulders, a soft tuck of the chin. Watching as our breath flows in. And watching as our breath flows out. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by our side. So if your feet aren't hip width apart, we can get them there, either a step or a jump. We're going to work with our fire breath, short, sharp exhalations out through the nose. As we inhale, arms up in front. On the exhale, we're going to bend the knees and cast the hands back, and we'll do 8 of these. Couple more. The last one. And then back up, and either stepping or jumping it back in. Sun Sal C, an extended standing pose sequence. I'll ask you to go sideways, Kathy. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length. And then on the exhale, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Yogi stretch. And you take your time. We're on a hike here. I'm going to wait for everyone to catch up. So we're going to do that same hip opener. I'm going to add some thigh bone rotations though. It should feel pretty good. If they're not for you, don't do them. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder anchored, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. As we hold this shape, I'll invite you to circle your thigh bone for 3, and 2, and 1. Taking it the other way for 3, and 2, and 1. And wait for it. Looking between the hands, pitching that knee even higher, and then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, finding your warrior 1. Arms out to the side, and then overhead. In warrior 1, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips. If you're as long as you're going to get, you stay right here. Otherwise, shifting weight onto the front foot as we lengthen our stance, scooting that back foot back. With our hands on our hips, we can steer our hips front. Hands find the shoulders, steering heart front. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then keeping that sense of width across heart and throat chakras as we stretch those hands high. From here with the breath, pulling silk threads. We don't want to break the threads. Breathing in, breathing out, cactus arms. We'll do 6 of these. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale and exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1 coming up. Breathing in, breathing out, and holding cactus arms. The elbows move back, the hands come with, and I'll invite you to ripple those fingers as we keep our hands supple. Feeling free to bring hands to hips and hanging out for a number of breaths. Otherwise, hands find the hips and we'll move towards a dynamic warrior 3 as we spin the back heel up. Big step in. Starting to balance on right leg any amount. We could work right here, tapping big toe down. Otherwise, going a little bit bigger as we pitch the body forward. Feeling free to work at a place that's comfortable for you, keeping the knee and the standing leg soft as we let the arms dangle. Adding movement as we start to swing the arms forward to back, back to front, out to the side, a little criss, a little cross. Finding your dynamic balance. If someone were to push you wouldn't fall over. And then sweeping those hands front. And also just nice and wide with the arms as we lift the face to look through those hands. Keeping those shoulders nice and relaxed. Hands in front, find the hips as we take a big step back. Turning warrior 1 hips into warrior 2 hips. We can use those hands to steer our hips sideways. Perhaps kicking the back foot in, classically it's heel to arch alignment, and then finding one long arm looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll do 6. Here's 3. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale. Exhale. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. We're going to hold that reverse warrior. Reaching up higher. Reaching down further. Finding more space between each rib. And I'll invite you to spread those fingers wide as we find more space in our hands. And breathing into all that space from the inside out. Turning reverse warrior back into warrior 2. Now finding a rainbow warrior, feel free to choose a strap, towel, otherwise a clasp of the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades back and down onto the ribs initially, and then open heart, open throat as we take a deep dive inside the front leg. Relax neck, heavy head, and then letting those shoulders slide down towards the floor. You could always ground down through the handstand if you feel like you want a little more foundation. However you choose to work the shape, I'll invite you to add a little gentle swing, a little gentle sway. Just inviting any tension in your neck and shoulders to drain down through the crown of the head, into the earth. However, if you've chosen to work the shape, I'll invite you to find a strong tuck of the chin as we stretch out the back of the neck. Inhaling it up, coming back to our warrior 2. Turning warrior 2 into the triangle, thumb and forefinger finds crease of hip and base of rib. We deepen that crease, we lengthen those ribs, keeping a little spring in the knee, either grounding bottom hand down, thumb in line with shin bone to open up that bottom shoulder as we wrap the calf, or putting a brick outside the calf. And if you choose to use a brick, I'll invite you to find a physical connection between the brick and the calf. Yeah, so you get just a tad closer, yeah. And that'll give you a little sense of security in the shape. We can use that top hand to rotate our ribs. We can use that top hand to open up that shoulder. And then we can either keep hand wherever it wants to go or stretching that hand high as we find our triangle pose. We need a little more height. Let's give Kathy a little more height. Awesome. You need some more height? You're good. Awesome. As we hold the shape with every breath in, our diaphragm stretches down towards our navel, gathering energy in that place as we draw air into our lungs. As we breathe out, the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart, and as the air moves out of our lungs, on that impetus, finding more space in the shape from the inside out. Feeling free to hold your triangle, 2 feet on the floor. Moving towards the half moon. Triangle on one foot as top hand finds the hip. Softening that front knee for a big step in. Setting your base. Yeah, do what you do. You're pretty much in frame wherever you choose to work, Kathy. We could work low. We could work high, pouring weight into hand and foot as that back foot lifts up. You know, if you're not in a place where you can do it, don't do it. Again, we can use that top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs. Opening up shoulders, stretching hand high, choosing either to look down, off to the side, or up to the sky. And again, breathing into your energy center, and from that center, finding more space from the inside out. Top hand finds the hip, softening that front knee as we take a big step back. Coming back to our warrior 2, one long arm. Again, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out our shoulders, finding low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. And again, take your time. Find your flow. Whether you choose down dog or child's pose, I'll invite you to fill the back plane of your body with your breath, using your breath to find a little more freedom, a little more space in your spine. Now, feeling free to stay wherever you are. We'll take a little interlude here. So holding your child's pose or any other shape. If you have some handstanders out there and you want to take it on up, play with that. Maybe playing with your donkey kicks. Otherwise, I'll cue the moving plank again. As we inhale forward to plank pose. Exhaling navel to spine, lifting hips high. A couple more times. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. One more to go here. Inhale it forward. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more half breath. Breath in. And then breath out. Navel to spine. As we lift the hips high and holding for another couple of breaths. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, we'll move towards that second side. We'll start with that hip opener and we'll add those thigh bone rotations. Wait for it. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up the hip. Now circling the thigh bone in the hip socket for 3 and 2. Take your time. And 1. Taking it the other way for 3 and 2 and 1. And wait for it. Looking between the hands, pitching that knee even higher. And then sweeping that foot on through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side. And then overhead. Warrior 1. In Warrior 1, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips. If you're as long as you're going to get, just stay right here. Otherwise, shifting weight onto that front foot as we scoot that back foot back. More length in our stance, more stretch in our legs. With our hands and our hips, we can steer our hips front. They're not going to get there, but we want to feel that energetic action. Hands find the shoulders, steering heart front. Now walking the fingers one over, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. Elbows wide to the side. And then keeping that sense of space and width across heart and throat chakra as we stretch those hands high. From here, pulling silk threads. We don't want to break the threads. Breathing in. Breathing out, cactus arms 6 times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Inhale. And exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding cactus arms. Elbows move back. The hands come with. Rippling those fingers as we keep our hands supple. Enjoying the stretch. Now moving towards our dynamic Warrior 3. Any amount. Hands find the hips. And they could stay right here for a number of breaths. Otherwise, spinning the back heel up as we take a big step in. Starting to balance on that left foot as the back foot gets light. We could work low. Big toe keeps tapping down. Knee of the standing leg stays soft as we find that dynamic balance. Either keeping hands on hips or letting those arms dangle. Starting to add movement as we swing the arms forward to back, side to side, finding those little micro adjustments that find our dynamic balance. And then sweeping those hands in front. And I'd like you to keep those arms nice and wide. I mean, not parallel, but, not nice big V here. City lights posture on one leg. And then lifting the face to look through those hands. Hands in front, find the hips. We take a big step back. Turning Warrior 1 hips into Warrior 2 hips as we steer the hips sideways. We can kick the back foot in for a narrower stance. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one here. Breathing in. We're going to hold. Reaching up higher. Reaching down further. Finding more space between each rib. And mimicking our ribs with our fingers as we spread those fingers wide, finding more space in our hands. And breathing into that space. It feels so good. Turning the reverse warrior back into Warrior 2. Grabbing a strap or a towel, otherwise walking the fingers one over, shoulder blades back and down onto ribs. Open heart, open throat. Take your time here as we take that deep dive inside the front leg. Relax neck, heavy head, and then letting the shoulders slide off the ribs and down towards the floor. And if you need to find more grounding, of course, hands can find the ground. However you choose to work the shape. I'll invite you to add a little swing, a little sway. Inviting any tension in your neck and shoulders to drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. And there's plenty of room in the earth to receive that tension. Our neck and shoulders don't need it. Earth loves it. Turns it into a volcano or something.
That's awesome.
If you can laugh at your own jokes, it's awesome. However you've chosen to work the Rainbow Warrior, I'll invite you to strongly tuck your chin, stretching up the back of your neck as you inhale it up. Coming back to our Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, moving towards Trikonasana, the triangle. Thumb and forefinger finds crease of hip and base of rib. We deepen that crease. We lengthen those ribs. Keeping a little spring in the knee. We've got lots of choices here. We can line thumb up with shin bone as we wrap the calf. At home, maybe you work lower. Here, maybe we choose to throw a bricks outside the calf as we find a little more height. If you do choose to use the bricks, I'll suggest a physical connection there. And that's going to help you feel a little safer in the shape. You don't have to support it. I know some schools teach the free-floating hand. I see so many students do that. Are you high enough? Yeah, I'm good. Okay, good. We can use that top hand for good effect as we rotate our ribs, opening up shoulder, and then stretching hand high to the sky. Or keep your hand on your hip, up to you. As we hold the shape with every breath in, drawing energy into a big ball of energy in the center of yourself. With every breath out from that ball of energy, sending energy out through both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine. Finding more amplitude in the shape as you connect with the pulsation of the breath. Feeling free to keep 2 feet on the floor. Or finding your half moon, the triangle with 1 foot on the floor. As top hand finds the hip. Big step in. If you need to arrange yourself in terms of the constraints of your space, do so. Once you have your foundation, we'll start to pour weight into hand and foot. Take your time. You can work low. You can work less low. We can use that top hand to rotate our ribs, opening up shoulders, stretching hand high. And again, with every breath in, as the diaphragm stretches down towards the navel, gathering energy in that place. As the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart, sending energy out into space from the very center of yourself to the periphery of the room, and beyond that, the periphery of the universe. Coming down easefully, top hand finds the hip. We can take either a big or a small step down. Shifting the weight into the feet. Hands find the hips as you find your Warrior Two. And from Warrior Two, a big windmill of the arms as you find your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. And again, take your time, find your flow. Again, strenuous sequence. Maybe you choose a child's pose. Being gentle with yourself. Why not? You can't be kind to yourself. It all starts there. Kindness to others, kindness to self. Wherever you are, always feeling free to stay there. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a big jump front, or maybe a small jump, maybe 2 jumps. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, keeping that length as we fold again. On the inhale, stay low, finding our chair, knees over toes, hands over head. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, the city lights gesture, big Y with the arms. On the exhale, standing tall. I'll ask you to face camera, Kathy, as we bring hands to heart. This time adding an isometric engagement as we press the palms together, elbows wide, tuck of the tail, tuck of the chin, connecting with the strength of your center. And breathing into that strength. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by our side. If your feet aren't hip width apart, we can get them there with a step or a jump. We'll work with that fire breath one more time here as we inhale the arms up to one side. On the exhale, we're going to pass the hands through center. We give those wrists a little flick. And other side. Let's do 8 both ways. We're halfway done. A couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up and either stepping or jumping it in. So we'll do an abbreviated cross-step routine. I want to make sure everyone stays on the same page. So we're going to shift weight onto the right foot. We're going to cross our left foot over right. Does everyone have that? So right foot, left foot over right. Softening the knees, arms out to the side, and then overhead. On the exhale, feel free to grab a brick, maybe before we settle into it, as we find a cross-legged forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back as you look up. On the exhale, folding and holding. Relaxed neck, heavy, heavy head. As we hold this cross-legged forward fold, any amount, circling those hips. Inviting more prana, more life force into our hips. Squeezing out any tension in the nooks and crannies. And then taking those circles the other way. Now coming back center, we're going to carefully unwind the legs as we step our left foot back, right foot front, finding our low lunge. In low lunge, I'll invite you to ground that back knee as we unfurl the foot. We're going to walk this front foot, this right foot forward, keeping the knee over the heel and in line with the toes. You want to start to feel some stretch where the back thigh connects into the hip. From here, I'll invite you to tuck the back toes as we bring hands onto our thigh, Anjaneyasana, and then arms out to the side, and then high to the sky. From here, let's bring right hand to right hip as we reach, reach, reach. We're going to find a twist. We can start with the wrist, sliding to the elbow, finding prayer hands, either looking down, off to the side, or up past that top. So you want to twist towards that bent front leg. So it's a twist, if you can. So you'd be twisting towards me.
Oh, okay.
If that's a pose that's right for you, yeah. From our twist, I'll invite you to come back to low lunge as we frame front foot with both hands. Finding low lunge as we lift the back knee. And then one more time today, back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. We'll do another interlude here. So if you're a handstander and you want to play with your donkey kicks and you have a wall, go for it. If you're a child's poser, go for it. If you choose that child's pose, I'll invite you to gently rock yourself from side to side. And then I'll cue the moving plank unless Kathy absolutely doesn't want to do it. As she inhales forward to plank pose. Exhaling, navel to spine, lifting hips high. A couple more times. Inhale it forward. Exhale it back. The sternum will hold, inhaling forward. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more half breath. Breath in. And then breath out. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high. And if you're in child's pose, just gently, just a gentle rock side to side, just stretching out those hips, releasing and relaxing your back. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands and either stepping or taking that jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Exhaling, folding again. On the inhale, one more time today, finding our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll ask you to face camera, Kathy, as we bring hands to heart. This time intertwining the fingers, keeping the heels of the hands together. Isometric engagement as you try to pull those fingers apart. Again, a tuck of the chin, a tuck of the tail, connecting with the strength of your center. Any amount, doesn't have to be a big tug. Just feeling those muscles start to work. And then lifting the chin, tall through the crown, hands by your side. One more fire breath session here. If the feet aren't hip width apart, we can step or jump them that way. Inhaling, arms out to each side. On the exhale, crossing the hands in front, bending the knees, and switching the cross. We'll do 8. We're halfway done. Couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up and either stepping or jumping it in. I'm going to come on camera a little bit here just to make sure we stay on the same page. We're going to shift weight onto the left foot. I know at home Facebook switches it up, so make sure you're on the second side. We cross right foot over. Everyone has that. Excellent. I'll get out of the way. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back, and then arching the spine as we fold and hold. Relaxed neck, heavy head, letting your shoulders slide off the ribs and down towards the floor. As we hold the cross-legged forward fold, circling those hips any amount. Again, just inviting more vitality, more life force, chasing away any stiffness. And then taking those circles the other way. Let they be your circles, just good circles. What do your hips want? And then back to center as we carefully unwind the legs, finding our low lunge. Left foot front, right foot back. From our lunge, I'll invite you to ground the back foot and unfurl the back foot to stabilize the shape. And then walking this front foot forward, keeping the knee over the heel and in line with the toes. And go long enough so you start to feel stretch where the back thigh connects into the hip. From here, we can tuck the back toes, moving towards Anjaneyasana as we bring hands to the top of our thigh, settling those shoulders back and down onto the ribs. Keeping that, we can stretch those hands high to the sky. From here, moving towards our twist, I'm going to twist towards this bent front leg. Left hand catches the hip. We reach, reach, reach. We can start with the wrist. We can stay right here. Squeezing it a little bit tighter as we find the elbow. Finding prayer hands. Now choosing either to look down, off to the side, or up to the sky for the twist. Nice. So you want to twist towards that bent front leg if that's okay with you. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Oh, over here.
Yeah, there you go. We're twisted, we're balancing, still finding a deep full breath. Coming out of the twist easily as we frame front foot with both hands. If the back toes aren't tucked, we can tuck those toes as we come back to our low lunge, lifting the knee. And then one last time today, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa, maybe just stretching straight back. Again, just treating yourself properly here. Awesome. From down dog, I'll invite you to land the knees lightly as we find a child's pose with the arms in extension, keeping the elbows lifted as we heavy the forehead through, and then letting the elbows and shoulders relax. As we hold this child's pose, I'll invite you to gently rock it from side to side. If you're on your back, maybe a little wiggle, a little waggle. Finding your belly breath as you drop the breath down, keeping the belly soft on the inhale, keeping the belly soft on the exhale. Wherever you've chosen to work, I'll invite you to come onto your back as you find your Shavasana, different ways to do that. Long through the arms, long through the legs. Scooting the head back, flattening your shoulders. Tip of the tongue now neutral in your mouth. A slight part to your lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose, doing whatever else feels right and good for you. Hello, Laura. As we hold whatever shape you've chosen, letting the front plane of the body heavy into the back plane, letting both planes of the body heavy into the floor or ground. And we won't be here too long. Makes for a wonderful at-home place to be, so certainly feeling free to stay there for the purposes of a video. It's kind of dead air. Shavasana air. So anyway, I'm going to ring these bells 3 times. Here we go. I'll invite you to move your minds before you move your bodies. Bringing your attention back to your breath. watching as it flows in and out, like watching a river as that river flows by. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath, varying that ratio between the inhale and the exhale, as we find a long, slow breath in, followed by an even longer, slower breath out. Keeping this more relaxing breath, inviting more prana, more vitality, more life force into your bodies, I'll invite you to gently ripple fingers and toes. Inviting that life force in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our ankles. Adding a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shake of the hips, whatever feels right and good for you. Connecting with your own innate sense of well-being. Now pressing your back into the mat to support the action of the legs as we engage the core. Drawing one knee into the heart, the other knee follows. Hands cap the knees. We can use our thighs to gently massage our low belly as we gently lift and lower the low back and hips. Front to back, side to side, little circles. Let your body tell you what it wants. Now keeping the knees close in, keeping the neck relaxed as you reach back with a hand to lift and tuck the chin. Chin stays tucked as the hand comes back to the shin or knee. And then we want to massage our spine as we start to rock ourselves forward to back, back to front. If you need to catch the back of the thighs, go for it. So you want a big rock. Yeah, more vigorous. Yeah, there you go. Feel the stretch. And then a little momentum, a little core engagement as we pop on up to find a cross-legged sit. And I'll ask you to face camera, Kathy. As we sit, grounded down through both sits bones, I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands as you settle your shoulders. Long through all sides of the neck with a soft tuck of the chin. I'll invite you to bring one hand onto the heart, the other hand on top. Ending our practice as we started, listening and feeling as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. The light within me honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you at home for practicing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me on camera.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Is it Nan or is it Nanette? Both. Thank you, my sister, my lovely sister out here from Boston,
Thank you.
or Arlington specifically. Thank you for practicing off camera. And as always, namaste sounds so much like have a nice day, and we'll see you all next time.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Everyone.